Hi, welcome to another episode of Seafood at Your Fingertips Live. My name is Armando Ubeda. I'm the Florida Sea Grant agent in Sarasota County. Today, I'm gonna be cooking a a mango snapper. I'm gonna be grilling. So the recipe is called grill whole snapper or grill whole fish and corn on the cob. So for this recipe, which it is really easy to moderate depending on how confident you are with grilling. To me, I feel it's in between both of them. But for this recipe, you'll need obviously a fish. In this case, I have mango snapper, but it can be any fish that you like. It has a simple bone structure. You will need corn. Some of the spices that you will use for the fish, or that at least I like to use for the fish, are black pepper. I like to have some lime, pepper flakes, red pepper flakes, celery salt, paprika. In this case, I have smoked paprika, but you can have any kind of paprika. Salt, olive oil, and aluminum foil. I'm going to talk to you more about the aluminum foil later. For the corn, you need garlic, and as well for the fish. Actually, I forgot to say that. Chili powder, lime, salt, and butter, which I still have in the refrigerator. I didn't want it to melt. And I'm actually going to put this back in the refrigerator, the fish, because I'm going to have to deal with the grill first. So let's set the grill on, start the grill before we start cooking, preparing things to put in the grill, because it might take a little bit of time. All right. So we're outside. I'm going to start the grill. This is a charcoal grill. I have a chimney, which makes it easier to start with the charcoal. I do have a gas grill, but this recipe, I really like to do it when I'm outside or I'm camping, fishing and camping, or, it's not in my regular spot. So my house, my own grill. So I like to use this, and I also like to use the charcoal grill on this recipe to explain you about the temperature that you'll need, which is between medium high heat. And how can you estimate that with a charcoal grill? Again, if you're not at your house, maybe you have a gas grill that has a thermometer like I do, but this is a recipe that you can really do anywhere. So I'm gonna start the fire. It might take about 10 to 15 minutes to start. And that's one of the things that you have to be a little flexible when you are grilling, because sometimes, if it's windy or if it's raining a little bit, so it might take a little longer. So this recipe takes about 30 to 40 minutes. And again, when you grill, you have to be a little flexible. I always joke, well, I think it's a joke. My wife sometimes tells me what time dinner is going to be ready. And I said, oh yeah, 7:30, but I'm grilling. So it might be 7:30, 7:45, 7:50 sometimes. So anyway, so this is a great way to start fire for the grill. Your charcoals get hot, regular, all even, and then you just can dump it. And again, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe faster. And then after that, the grill's ready after 10 to 15 minutes. Once you can dump the coals and then put the fish in, and we're gonna also put the corn. But let's go back inside so I can explain you how to prepare things that we're gonna bring back into here, into our grill. So let's just have a smoke. I already see some flames at the bottom, so it should be good. All right, we're back inside. My cat is meowing. He probably smelled the fish too. Just kidding. If you just join us, this is another episode of Seafood at Your Fingertips by Florida Sea Grant. And before I start dealing with the fish, the grill is already getting ready. I'm gonna prepare the corn because we want to soak the corn a little bit in water so to keep it moist. We're gonna put the corn on the cob and the grill, and we're gonna keep the layers here. We're just gonna peel a little bit off, not all the way completely, so only maybe like 2/3 of it, so we can remove the silk, which you cannot eat. It won't hurt you if you leave some alone, some in there, but you don't want to keep them in there. So basically, you want to remove this, pull it down all the way to the base. Again, leaving some of there because we're gonna put the husk back, and then put it into the grill so it doesn't get burned. But it makes it look really nice when you put it with this. It makes the corn look pretty, I think. So let me go get a bowl because we're gonna soak this in water. And I keep whatever extra layers that I take off or in the silk, I keep it because I have a compost bin. Which, by the way, if you wanna start a compost bin and you don't have one yet, through the extension, if I have an extension office, you might have an agent that deals with composting, like I do. My colleague Randy Penn, he deals with that, and he teaches people how to compost. In fact, he's the one who advised me on how to better compost and use some of my food waste, basically, and use them in my garden. Anyway, so let me go get a bowl, It's down in the basement. I'll be right back. I always wanted to do that as a joke. Hold on. So I do have a bowl here, fork, and other ones to keep. You can take some of these layers off, so you don't have to have them all. I like to keep some of them. So I'll peel on this. I'll try to be fast. I like to utilize the grill as much as I can. So every time I'm grilling, I try to prepare, if not all the food in the grill, for most of it. Just because it's hard to be inside, outside, inside, outside. And again, this recipe is one that I like to do when I'm maybe on the go, when I'm, fishing, camping by the beach. I got a big snapper and I just want to cook it right there. And corn, it preserves well. See how you clean it? So you don't have to, you can bring it with you camping or wherever you go, and then you don't have to eat it immediately. So you just put it back. So I'll put it in there. I'll do the second one. If it has a lot of extra layers, you just want to remove some of them. Again, I'm keeping them because I want to compost them. You do want to remove the silk, which are this, I call them hairs too. I don't probably know the right term. But anyway, you see, you peel it, not all the way down, but almost, because you want this back. You want it to protect it. So it's going to keep the corn from burning and going to keep moist. So you remove, if you don't remove all of them, as I said, no big deal. You can remove them later. Again, third one. I'm cooking for my whole family, so my kids really like corn. So I try to make one for each, but you can cut them in half, and it depends on how many people you have and what else you're serving. I'm going to be serving this tonight with salad as well. So we're going to have fish, the corn, and salad. So you get an idea of how to prepare this. You want to put a little bit of salt in the bowl when you put the corn, because it helps a little bit of flavor. And it doesn't have to be all the way on the water, just a little bit. If you have a bigger bowl than I do, then it's okay. But again, the water just to keep it moist, and you want to do that for about 10 minutes. It's not really set time that you have to do that. And this about 10 minutes to take for the grill to be ready. 10 to 15 minutes after you dump the coals, and the coals should be ready in about, 10 minutes or so. So this is a good way to wait for the grill to get going. Again, you want to remove all the silk. It's kind of messy, but good composting material. It goes back into my garden. All right, so I have 4. I think I'm just gonna do 4 tonight. They're bigger than I thought. So I'm gonna put a little bit of water. I'll keep this to the side. Cold water, obviously you don't want to put hot water. Once they're ready, you just want to shake off the excess of water and then put it into the grill. So let me talk to you about the grill. So I keep saying that this is a recipe that I like to do when I'm outside, maybe when I'm fishing and camping. So normally I don't get my pretty grill or spotless and really clean. Oh, I forgot to put this on. Hold on. I have an official apron from Seagrand, which actually is one of the things that make you feel official, and it helps you actually. So I'm gonna put it on. If you don't have one, don't feel bad. I actually forgot to put my own, but here it is. I actually made me feel like a pro. So anyway, so this is the corn. And I was telling you about the grilling outside. Sometimes you might not have, the cleaner of all grills like you would do. So the aluminum foil and the fish help you with that, and the corn like this as well, because then your corn is not really touching the grill directly. So even if it's not as clean as you would like it to be. Anyway, just a little bit of salt. I think I said in the recipe a tablespoon of salt. And this is just, you can eyeball it. A little bit more water. All right, so that's the corn. We're gonna let it sit for about 10 minutes. Let's deal with the mangrove snapper. Snappers are really cool fish. There's a lot of varieties. You probably heard about red snapper, mutton snapper, mangrove snapper. They also call them the mangrove snapper, also called gray snapper. They're pretty common around here in the Gulf Coast, but also in the Atlantic coast. The cool thing about mangrove snapper is that season is open year round. You just have to make sure that if you catch it yourself, which they can be really close to in the coastal water. So sometimes I do fish for mangrove snappers. Instead, it has the right size, so it's about it has to be 10 inches at least. In the federal waters, which is more than 9 miles out in the Gulf, it has to be 12 inches long. But it's a really good looking fish. And so let me get it out. In terms of price, it's not bad. It's as I say, it's a really good looking fish. This is, I got it from the fish market. Actually, I did curbside pickup, which is great. I called them up. I bought it online. I bought them on the phone and they clean it for me. Sometimes you see that they still have some little bit of scales. You do want to ask them to clean them for you because it can be messy. I don't know if you ever taken scales off, but they go everywhere. And when I'm outside, I don't care. But if I'm at home, I don't want to put those everywhere. So I'm just going to put the fish. I do want to rinse the fish in cold water a little bit just to get some of the scales off. I use this to keep them in there. I don't want them to go into my sink, the scales. Oh, I want the cold water. As I was telling you, mangrove snapper is a really cool fish. Very good looking fish. I like to fish for it. Normally, if you're gonna cook a whole fish, you need about a pound of fish per person, depending obviously of who you fit in. In this case, when I talked to the person who helped me, he said, well, approximately between 3 pounds. It ended up being a little smaller, but I didn't check. So it's okay. So a couple of my children might not eat tonight, but it's okay. Just kidding. We do have, my wife made paella actually last night. So we might have combined this with paella as well. So now it's being rinsed. So to take some of this, see the scales out of it. You do want to, let me wash my, well, before I wash my hands, I'm going to tell you, you want to dry the fish, pat it, and dry it very carefully from the inside and the outside because I'm going to put some spices in it. And if your fish is wet, and that's with any meat really, if you are grilling and putting some rub in any kind of meat, including fish, then the spices won't stick to it. So I might roll of paper right here. Dealing with raw meat or raw fish, make sure that you minimize touching anything. Well, actually, don't touch anything else. Just wash your hands after it, but I'm just grabbing paper towels, pat it very carefully. Something else that I learned when I have bought fish before, which is great to buy fish from your local fish market, is sometimes they don't remove the gills. So you want to make sure that the gills are removed. And you can remove them yourself. You can learn. I like to eat a whole fish, especially when it's not too big, because it looks pretty. It looks amazing. And again, this recipe is easy. I don't think it's that complicated. And it makes you look like a pro. Because when you show somebody, you serve a whole plate and a whole fish in a plate, I think it looks very attractive. Some fish you want to fillet. You have to get good at it. In fact, my colleague, Mike, he's probably watching as well. He just did a ceviche the other day. He's very good at filleting fish, and he put up a video on our website. You can check our the Seafood at Your Fingertips live by Flora Seagrand. He has a whole video about how to fillet a fish. Let me use a couple more paper towels. Again, this is important because it will help with all the spices to stick to your fish. And that's another thing. If you use a frozen fish, you want to make sure that you put it in the refrigerator the night before and it's not frozen, because then the moist releases when there's grill and then it doesn't cook as well. So let me throw this away. Wash my hands. Don't be intimidated by cooking a whole fish. Again, it looks pretty. And with the aluminum foil, as I said, it keeps it moist and it protects it from getting dirty if it's not your grill. In fact, that grill that you saw there, I have a charcoal grill. I borrowed that one from a neighbor. because mine is like spotless and clean. So I want to show you a grill that is not as clean as mine. I'm kidding, actually it's my grill, but it's my charcoal grill, so I don't keep it as clean as my gas grill. All right. Let's get this fish ready. So I said that you needed red pepper flakes, paprika, celery salt, pepper, and olive oil. You can marinate, you can put actually the olive oil in it and put all the spices together and marinate the fish for an hour or more. That will be good. But again, I do this sometimes when I'm outside. So I like to do the spices first and then the olive oil so I can put them in there without having to marinate, because I might not have the luxury. So I think I said about 1 tablespoon for each. I really eyeball it. If you ask me, you can just follow the recipe. I taste it. If I feel like it needs more of this or that, I just add it. And you don't have to have all the spices. And you can get the spices already, like a mix of all the spices, if you want to find a rub at the store. So you don't have to have all these ingredients. I think in the recipe I said 2 or 3 small fish. Well, they didn't have small fish, smaller than this, but you can just use whatever you have. And that's the beauty of grilling and eating fish, especially if you're fishing, you don't know what you're gonna get. All right. So all these ingredients are in there. Let me get a spoon. Mix them all together. Yeah. Tastes good. All right. So how do we put this there? You do want to make sure that you put them inside the fish and outside the fish. Not just outside, to increase flavor. And you want to make some cuts all the way to the bone, maybe 3 or 4 slits, depending on the size of your fish, obviously. I like to use my fishing fillet knife, that's what I will have if I will be fishing. So I just cut some slits into the fish. It makes it cook faster, and also I can put some of the spices inside. You see what I'm doing right there? Some people cut the fins off. So if you have scissors, you can cut this off. They can be spiky. I like to leave it on. I think they look pretty. You could cook without putting this in aluminum foil. You can put the fish directly into the grill. Again, if it's not your own grill, might be a little dirty. And sometimes sticks, so you have to be more careful. And you have to be on top of the grill, basically, making sure the fish doesn't get burned. So now, I didn't touch the fish with this hand, so that's what I do. My hand is clean, I use the spoon, put some of the spices in there, and with the other hand, I rub the fish and put it in there. You do want to make sure, again, as I said again, to keep the fish. Oh, onyx, you're gonna eat later. To keep it that it's not wet, otherwise it will not stick to your fish. Another reason I like to eat a whole fish is because they have a little meat. Fish sometimes they have a little meat in the cheeks or just behind the head, and when you fillet a fish, sometimes people don't use that meat or cut way behind, and they lose a lot of good meat. And if you don't eat it all, then you can use fish tacos the next day. I have another colleague, he did oysters the other day for this same program. And we were in the Keys actually for a meeting, and we went fishing and got some fish, and we grilled, and we had some leftovers. So he took the time to get some of the meat out, and I think we make scrambled eggs with meat the next day. So you put some of the inside as well. Again, I think I said tablespoon a teaspoon, I just taste it, and depending on how big my fish is. All right, so I think it's good for the spices. I do like to put lime also in the fish. So I do lime wheels, and that helps you with flavor. So I put some lime in the inside of the fish. cavity. Keep it moist, and as I said, makes them smell good and add flavor to it. All right. I did say also that I want to use garlic. I like to put garlic in the fish as well. I love the smell of garlic and the taste. To be honest, I love food and I love to eat good. So that's what I cook, because if you like to eat, I think you should also learn how to cook. And this is not that difficult. You might think it is, but once you do it a couple times, it's simple. I think the challenge part is the grill, to be honest. And if you have a chimney or a gas grill, it shouldn't be bad. So I'm gonna mash, help me remove the skin of the garlic. I do very thin pieces of garlic because I'm gonna put in the slit of the fish. And the ones inside don't have to be that thin. And if they fall off, they fall off. But again, it's going to be wrapped in aluminum foil, so it will stay there regardless of. And again, this is optional, and some people like garlic, some people don't. I love garlic. I think one of the things that I could eat with almost everything. All right. So olive oil. I always use the same bowl that I was using before, just to put a little bit of olive oil. Again, I think I said half a cup. It really depends on how many fish you have and how much olive oil you like to put in. So just rub it in, not too much. All right, I'm gonna put some garlic in the slit. I'm gonna have to wash this cutting board again after I'm done with this. Luckily, I don't need it anymore, so we'll be good. I can wash it later. Some in there. I do need to cut the line. So again, it's a pretty fish, mangrove snapper. You can go fish for it. You can buy it at the store. And again, there's many different species. Just make sure that you follow regulations and that you know when they're season. Like red snapper, it's not always in season. This one is. And you can find more about that in the FW, Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission website, or also in the FDACS website. And we have a bunch of links that you can follow and tell you where to find your local markets and who's selling what. But it's a great fish to eat. Let me wash my hands one more time so we can do the lime, and then we should be ready to wrap it. As I said again, with grilling, you have to be a little flexible sometimes. Things might take a little longer than expected. This is part of the game. It's making me hungry. I already smelled the garlic. Oh, here it is. All right, I did rinse this, so it's rinsed. I'm gonna use another cutting board. I like to do lime wheels, so you cut the ends and then do very thin. See, I don't use that either. This knife is not the sharpest knife. Kind of like what they will serve you a drink with if you order one of those drinks that have a lime wheel on top of it. I stick it in the cavity of the fish, just for flavor, to keep it moist too. All right. Oh, it's looking great. Wash my hands one more time. It's a little soap using here, but that's good. Make sure that you don't get sick or anything from raw fish. So make sure you like. And if you liking what you're seeing, make sure you hit like. That it will be weird that only my mom hits the like button in our Facebook page. So, all right, let's get the aluminum foil. The sheet's aluminum foil. I'm gonna move this to the side. So here's the fish. I hope you can see it. It's looking very good. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna move the fish to the aluminum foil. I make sure to have a good amount so it doesn't get everywhere. So in the way I do this, let me move this thing so you can see. I just fold it, really. There's not good science to it. Just make sure you have enough that it covers the whole fish. You don't have to turn it when it's in the grill. Really, it depends. If you have a close grill, the temperature is even and you're able to regulate it, it will cook anyway. But I like to turn it just to make sure that it cooks even both sides. So you don't want the aluminum foil not to be on top of each other that is loose, because otherwise then you might have a hole and they might not cook evenly. So it looks good. I actually might need a little bit more aluminum foil, which I'm going to put some in it. I underestimated the size of that fish. So after I do this, I'm going to put this fish back in the refrigerator. Actually, I can leave it out for a second. I just want to make sure that our coals are ready. See, it won't hurt if you put more aluminum foil. Oh, it's looking good. I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to put it to the side. Wash it later as well. Where's our corn? Oh, it's right here. Just going to turn it a couple times. All right, let me get another plate. I'm actually going to put this in the refrigerator. All right, let's go outside now and let's go check on the charcoal grill to see how it's going. All right, here we are outside. You see, I don't know if you can see from where you are. It's a little sunny, but there's a lot of flame, so it's going great with the grill, with the coals. Oop. So I'm just gonna dump it. Put this to the side. Make sure you don't burn yourself. Let me see if I can show you cold. So it's pretty good. So how can you tell? So this is medium high. You're supposed to have medium high. It's about 350 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 200 centigrades. Let me move this a little bit so they're even. So how can you tell if you don't have a thermometer? Well, it's pretty simple. If you hold your hand about 4 inches worth, or maybe 6 inches, depending on the depth of your grill. And I bet it's like, if you go to 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, and you have to remove your hand about then, that's kind of what the heat you want. But I think I said that in the recipe, or if not, well, check the website, because there's a whole complete recipe. Another one, if you read the blog, that's the whole recipe, but I think I added a little more, even including about the species of fish that we're eating in our recipe card, which you can find in our website at the Seafood at Your Fingertips. So I'm going to close the vents a little bit on the bottom, so to reduce a little bit of the heat. I don't want my coals to burn too fast or too quickly. I'm going to put the lid back on. I'm going to open the vents right there. All right, cool. So let's go bring the corn and let's bring the fish down. The coals are ready. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. It's about right. Again, doesn't have to be the cleanest grill, because you have the fish in aluminum foil and the corn is in the cup, so it's not gonna be too great. I dump the water from the corn. I shake the excess of water, and it keeps it moist. So I'm just gonna put it in there, like so. And I'm gonna bring the camera closer, so you can see. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes for the corn. Turn it from each side. The fish, it can take 5 to 10 minutes depending on the size of the fish. This fish, I would say it take about 20 minutes, 15 to 20. So it will be pretty much the same with the corn. I'll open those. Oop, I should use my glove. Like, open a little more. So we got a little bit of the heat going. I feel about right. All right, should be good. Let's go inside and let's do the butter for the corn. I like to melt some butter with some spices so I can, after, put it on top of the corn. And you can do it even here. Like if you have a pot or something like that, you can put the butter in there and just do it in here. I don't just have the space with this grill, so I have to do it on the stove. But, let's go back inside and let's do that. All right, we're back inside. I'm gonna take care of the butter that I'm gonna put on top of the corn once it's ready. So I have a regular pot. I'm gonna use about half a stick of butter. So let me get another knife. It's about half. Because I only have 4 corn, so I don't need the whole. I mean, you can use as much as you want. So I use half, maybe a little more. My kids like butter. I do too. All right, butter. Let me wash my hands. As I said, I like to put chili powder and lime, but lime I'll put it later. I'll actually squeeze lime on top of my corn. Put it low heat. Put like spicy. Salt, some salt. This is unsalted butter, by the way, so that's why I add a little bit of salt to it. I do have something to measure with. Not too much salt. Salt is one of those ingredients that you can add later. So I'd rather be cautious with salt. Let me turn it back on. We're gonna let it sit there and melt. Let's go back outside and let's turn that corn and see how things are going. All right, so we're outside again. I'm gonna check on the corn. Oh, it's looking great. These grills have the lead has a hook, so I can hook it to the side. Right there. So I'm gonna bring the camera on, and excuse me for the background noise. Can't help it. I'm outside, but see how the corn's looking really great. You see how it's getting this brown color, which is not really burning the inside. So I'm just gonna turn it. I love it. I love the colors. My steam is getting burned, but it's actually not getting burned. And the fish is good, so I'm not gonna turn it quite yet. And it's good to check the temperature, so you can do the same thing. You speed your hand over the vent, and yeah, it's hot. It is hot. And if you had a thermometer, you can tell. But again, this is not rocket science. You can learn how to estimate. So it's pretty hot. So I'm gonna close a little bit. And because the fish is on wrapped in aluminum foil, it's hard to, it won't stick to the grill, and you won't overcook it. You know, it will be good. So that's another advantage of putting aluminum foil, because it's all wrapped in there, so it's protected, so it doesn't get burned. It just get cooked maybe a little faster, but it still will taste really good. And believe me, this is gonna be good. All right, just gonna wait for a few minutes to turn the corn, and then turn the fish back on the other side. All right, we're back inside. The butter has melted already. I don't know if you can see it from there. It smells really good. So I'm just gonna get it out of the just let it sit. It doesn't have to be really hot, but it's actually smelling really good. And all the spices, you can smell that flavor. Smells really good. Just gonna set to the side and go check on the fish and the corn. All right, we're gonna turn the corn one more time, and we're gonna turn the fish to the other side. Let's find that hook. There you go. And I'll show you, I'll bring the camera closer so you can see. Let me get this. Right there. You see how the corn might seem that it's getting burned, but it's actually not getting burned. It's just cooking really nicely. And that water and that salt help it to keep it moist, so it's good. And the fish should be cooking right along. Pretty good. All right. All right, we're back outside. This is a little back and forward, but things are looking good. Oh, where's the hook? It's right there. Turn the corn one more time. Temperature is good. Always good to keep checking on your temperature and move things around. The way you can test if the corn is ready, if you grab a pair knife, like a very sharpy pointy knife, if you puncture the kernels, they should be tender and juicy. So they're not too dry and they're ready. So that's how you can tell. And let's say your fish is ready before your corn is. If you are at home, you can always put it in the microwave for a few minutes and it will be ready. So there's always that trick. In this case, it's cooking along very well. So I'm not gonna do anything else. And again, this is something that I normally do outside. And if I'll show you something here. This one right here, got a little burn, some of it, but it's not bad, and it adds color to it. So I think it looks beautiful. And we're gonna remove the husk anyway, so I think it's going pretty. It's looking great. All right, so I'm gonna get things going here and remove the fish and put it in the plate. I'm gonna have to ask for a helper here. So I'm gonna go get a helper to help me with the fish. Be right back. All right, I have my helper here. My son Kai is gonna help me hold the plate so I can put the fish in. That's another thing that you might need some help. Kai, can you hold that for me, please? Just the hook right there. So how can you check the fish is ready? Well, not only time, but also if you open the foil and you, with a knife, you move the meat a little bit, and it comes really easily from the bone, then it's ready. And you can tell. And if you have a thermometer, you can stick it in it, but it should be great. Kai, can you come to this side, please? Oh, in front of the camera. Drop it, that'll be catastrophic. All right. Thank you, Kai. I'll take that from him. I'll come back from the corn. But I'm sure it's gonna look great. I'm gonna show you in a second. All right, here we are again. We just took the fish inside. I let it sit for a little bit. You can do that. So I'm just gonna bring the corn in. Kai's still helping me. So Kai, hold that. All right. Let's go inside. All right, we're back inside. I'm gonna take care of the corn now. You can let the fish sit for a little bit. It's not gonna do any harm to it. Just gonna remove these layers. Again, I keep this because I do compost. And by the way, if you like this episode and you haven't seen all the other ones, you can go to a website. We record this so you can watch them later. A little hot. So you can watch them, you can rewatch them. And next Wednesday, we're gonna have my colleague. She's in Brevard County, actually, not Sarasota County. She's gonna be cooking crabby potatoes, so it should be pretty good too. A little hot. Look how beautiful this looks. Yummy. Right on. I'm actually gonna use another plate just because a little bit of that came out. Used to be more detail oriented, I guess. Remove some of the stuff. Alright, I'm gonna pour the butter, which I already melted. Again, it has some spice to it. And as I said again, you can add any kind of spices. We like to eat spicy food, so chili powder is not something my kids would reject. On the contrary, they embrace spices, so it should be good. Remember that lime I used before? So you can put a little lime in it. So the corn is ready. I like to serve this with a salad. You can put any salad dressing. Normally when you have these flavors, simple is better. And as I said again, this recipe is one of those recipes that I do outside most of the time, so I don't have a lot of things with me. I have lime, so I will bring a little bit of olive oil, lime, and salt, and that will do it. So let's check on the fish now. So our fish is cooked. I'm gonna bring the camera a little closer in a second. I'm gonna move this. Oh yeah, it's looking great. And if you're outside again, you can serve it. You can keep it in aluminum foil or not. In this case, I don't have to, but I'm just going to show it to you how it came out. Because it looks great, and it smells delicious. So let me wash my hands and bring the camera closer. So it's been fun for me. I'm sure we're going to enjoy this meal. And yeah, do you mind bringing that closer to me, the camera? I have a helper behind the camera. You cannot see that helper, but bring the fish up to you. But this is it, mangrove snapper, whole fish grill. Very easy, very simple, very tasty. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have fun. I did have fun for sure. Thank you for liking. Thank you for following us, and see you next time.